My parents always told me that when I turned 18, I had two options: college or the military. And I'm sensitive and don't like getting yelled at, so college is where I ended up. I was really excited when I went to college though. I was living with one of my best friends, I had a major picked out, and I was finally able to be on my own and make my own decisions. But when it was finally time to decide what I wanted to do, the only answer I had was nothing. I see a lot of people on social media talking about gifted kid burnout, but if I'm being completely honest, I think a lot of us are just lazy or need to get tested for ADHD. I never really had to try too hard to do well in school, and if I ever did struggle, the belt was always there to straighten me out. So when I got to college, I didn't really care about school anymore. I had a scholarship, so I kept my grades up, but in those 4 years, I learned that the biggest lessons are the ones taught outside the classroom. You see right here, this is the carbonator. Yo bro, can I see your notes from earlier? I got here late today. Not gonna lie bro, I haven't been paying attention at all. Bro, we got a quiz on Friday. What are you doing? Yeah, I've been hooked on this game. It's called Raid Shadow Legends, and they're the sponsor of today's video. Wait, video? Raid Shadow Legends is a free-to-play turn-based mobile RPG. They've got over 80 million players worldwide, and they're constantly updating it with new content. Wait, 80 million players? That many people play this game? Yeah, bro, and it's mad chill. So many multiplayer games are full of sweats that ruin all the fun. But with Raid, you just jump in, select your heroes, and build teams based on their unique abilities and interactions. Okay, but I've been seeing this game for years, bro. Even if you say it's casual, I'm definitely gonna be way behind all the other players just like every other MMO. Excuse me, gentlemen, but is there something you two would like to share with the class? Actually, yeah, there is. Right now, there's no better time for new players to try Raid Shadow Legends. All you gotta do is download using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen, and you get Tagoar, an epic support champion, 300,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 10 magic brews, and a 1-day XP boost. That's $60 worth of in-game content for free. And once you hit level 15, you get an additional epic champion Tayrel and even more silver, energy, and XP. And on top of that, they're throwing in 1 legendary champion for free if you use any one of these codes. Personally, I've been using Loki and going absolutely crazy with them. If you've ever wanted to try Raid and see what all the hype is about, now is the best time. It's available for download on mobile, PC, and Mac. And don't forget to use one of these promo codes to get your legendary champion. Once you're in, come join my clan and we can play together. Thanks to Raid for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to download using this QR code or the link in the description. I think the most exciting thing about college is finally having the freedom to do whatever you want. However, this freedom comes with a lot of responsibility, so you have to keep yourself in check. Because if you're me, a 9 AM class with no attendance requirement means that it might as well be optional. I skipped class so much that when I walked in for an exam one day, my professor looked at me and said, "Haven't seen you in a while." Like, whoa. I was told that in college, you're just a number and your professors won't remember you. But I guess you stand out a lot more when you're one of the only black people in the room. Speaking of professors, having a good relationship with one is really important. That's why on the first day of class, there's always a line of students trying to introduce themselves to someone who already forgot their name before they even told them. I think the best way is to just do it organically. Find professors who match your energy. They're not all bookworms who only care about academics. I remember when I was really struggling with my mental health, I completely forgot to submit an oral presentation that was worth 30% of my grade. And my professor was cool enough to give me an extension just because he could see I was kind of going through it. But also, if you're like me, you may also have a huge issue with procrastination. And growing up, you probably had teachers telling you, you know, this won't work when you get to college. But that's the problem. It does work. Really well, actually. By the time you get to college, you're like an expert at procrastinating. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, but that's just because it wasn't due by 11:59. In fact, it's gotten to the point where I genuinely believe that I do some of my best work at the last minute. Yo, don't forget our reports are due at 11:59 tonight. You almost done? Oh, yeah, totally. You haven't even started, have you? You always wait till the last minute. It'll be fine, bro. Don't you know that diamonds are made under pressure? Yeah, and so is coal. Yo, bro, I'm going to hoop. Wanna come? Bro, our reports are due in 3 hours. You should really get started. It's just a quick sesh. I'll be back in a bit and then I'll get started. Oh, I gotta go. Man, you should have seen me out there. I hit the game winner and all the ladies were like, oh my God. Whatever, bro. Are you gonna get started now? Well, I got a shower. I don't wanna be in here all stinky. All right, bro, whatever. Just make it a quick one. Don't be in there pretending you're in a music video again. Whatever. I will give you the world, baby girl. You ain't gotta be perfect. Yo, you wanna go get something to eat? Dude, our reports are due in 2 hours. So you're not hungry? No. Dude, what are you doing? Yeah, I probably should have dropped salty. There's like no loot here. We're gonna fail. All right, time to get started. Time for a break. Well, I don't know how you did it, but somehow we got an A. Look, the professor left feedback. Solid report. Some areas could have had more detail. Oh, come on. What did he say about my part? Great analysis. This must have taken weeks of careful research and crafting. Bravo. Trying to run duos? Another thing about college is that in your first couple of years, you'll probably live in a dorm. And I'd say being in a dorm is less about living and more about survival. It also sucks when you and your roommate are on the same schedule, so you never get a moment to just be alone. But learning how to coexist with a bunch of other dudes made me appreciate having my own space a bit more. Like there was this one time someone caused the fire alarm to go off because they tried to heat up a granola bar and ended up starting a small fire in the microwave, which made the entire building evacuate and had 1,000 people standing outside in the rain at 10 p.m. But I'm sure they probably didn't mean to. You know, whoever it was. But living in a community does make the transition to being on your own a lot easier. So I would say if you have the opportunity to try out dorm life, be sure to embrace it. A big part of college are parties and going out at night. And while I didn't really enjoy partying that much, I still tagged along with my friends whenever they went out sometimes. Being the sober friend at the bar is not a fun experience, and it almost seemed like the world was upside down at night. Even the cops seemed more interested in cracking down on jaywalking than the countless obviously underage drinkers. Hey! Do you want to go to jail tonight? Whoa, officer, what did I do? Don't you know that jaywalking is a serious offense? Dude, I'm 2 inches away from the crosswalk. Hey, 2 inches is a lot. Some might even say it's kind of big, actually. Okay, but what about all the people out here underage drinking tonight? Like, look at that guy. There's no way he's 21. Hey, you, come here. Is there a problem, officer? Are you old enough to be drinking that? Maybe. What's this guy here for? I was a couple of inches away from the crosswalk. Hey man, you know, a couple of inches is a lot. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that the width is what's really important anyway. Right? My wife said the same thing, you know. If we really get into it, it's not about the size at all, but really more so getting the job done. It's all relative. I completely agree. Who is even? I will say that my favorite part of college was the community. College is a great place for making friends and even dating since everyone's around the same age. Even just being in the same place enough times a week can be the start of a new friendship. But just because things are a bit easier, it doesn't mean that they don't still come with challenges. Even as a pretty outgoing person, it's still really awkward when you and a bunch of strangers get assigned a group project. So, you play any video games? Nah. Okay, type. You, catch the game last night? I'm not really into sports. Right. You got Instagram? I'll follow you. Social media isn't really your thing. Right, of course. I know it can be challenging sometimes. I remember feeling really lonely my first couple of months on campus because I wasn't really into partying, but it seemed like that was the only way people were meeting each other. But once I started pursuing more of my personal interests, I started making a lot more friends. And while I was able to eventually find my community, I know it's not that easy for everyone. One day, an administrator reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to show a student around. And on this tour, the student told me that he had been feeling really disconnected and was having a hard time meeting people and making friends. And it's hard trying to help. People want to make their own friends, not just become a fifth wheel to you and yours. So I started thinking about what I could do. Meanwhile, my friends were busy forming a plan to turn our friend group into something bigger. However, trying to get a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds with no money to be on the same page about anything is almost impossible. But what we did manage to do was take all of our consoles out of our dorms, rent out a room on campus, and host an open game night. We had food, drinks, and anyone was welcome to come. And I took the opportunity to invite the guy who said he had been struggling. And he didn't instantly make lifelong friends, but it was really cool to see him finally feeling like he was able to connect with other students. In college, I was an orientation leader. You know those people who were up at 6 a.m. screaming in your face when you're a freshman? Yeah, that was me. And one thing I learned is that remembering someone's name and face goes a long way at making them feel like they belong somewhere. And that can be the push someone needs to get out there and start making the most out of their college experience. But also, college may be your first time in a multicultural environment, which can be both a good and bad thing depending on how you approach it. I went to college at a school that is 70% white, and this led to a lot of unique experiences due to having a fairly diverse friend group. And since black people only made up about 6% of the student body, seeing another black person was always special. Yeah, so I had to tell her to put her socks back on because I am not that freaky. But yo, what's up, my boy? Oh, what's good, bro? Hey, it's good to see you. How you living? You know me, bro, just chilling. It's good with you? Tight. I'm cooling. Just trying to stay out the way. On God. You clean though. Hey, you see it? All right, I'm holla at you though. You be easy. For sure, bro. Same to you. Oh, you know that guy? Never seen that dude a day in my life. Stepping into a more diverse environment can be a bit stressful, especially when you're unsure how your culture will interact with others. One thing that used to happen often was I would call an Uber, and no matter what music was playing in the car before, the moment I got in it, the driver would switch to playing rap music. And I never knew whether to feel grateful or offended, because I do prefer to listen to rap, but he doesn't know that. So sometimes I ask him to change it back just to throw him off. And while being in a diverse environment helps broaden your perspective, you have to be mindful of what you're getting yourself into sometimes. Boy, you so fat you got tired riding the elevator. You so fat you look like you sweat butter. Hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just roasting each other. Nothing serious. Oh, can I join? I love roasting people. Oh, I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Oh, come on. I have 2 brothers and I roast them all the time. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. All right then. You look like... He said my breath smells like crocodile sweat. How does he even know what that smells like? Being in a multicultural environment was one of the main reasons I went to the school I chose. And I've learned that diversity for the sake of numbers doesn't really do anything if the students aren't willing to engage with each other. I'm not gonna sit here and act like you won't face different forms of prejudice when you go to college. I've had my own experiences sitting in diversity offices because someone called me the N-word. Again, it's hard being reminded of these things. It's hard when you're already struggling to find community and other people make you feel unwelcome. It feels unfair when things like this can cause you to feel deeply hurt. But if you react emotionally to it, people hold that against you. When people have preconceived notions about you just because of the way you talk or act or even look, and they judge you before they even get the chance to know you. But in my experience, where there's discrimination, there's also support. And you don't have to face these things alone. One of the biggest things I learned in college is that sometimes life is just about sharing experiences with each other, learning from the lives others have lived. I remember my freshman year, a friend of mine suggested that a few of us head over to the LGBT Resource Center to attend a class on ways we can better support LGBT students on campus. And I won't lie, as one of the only straight guys in the room, I felt really out of place. But I came to realize that you don't need to be a part of a community to learn about their experiences. I'm not trying to sound preachy or make myself look like a good person. I'm just saying that the best part of college is the community. And if you make an effort to get out there and talk to people who are different from you, things will be a lot better, but it has to be genuine. It's not about politics or agendas. It's about learning. You don't come into college knowing everything. I didn't even know what tampons were for until I got to college. But if you keep an open mind, maybe you'll know a bit more than you used to. If you really want to make the most of your college experience, you should try your best to get involved as much as you can. When I was an orientation leader, I had a student named Jake. And on this day, he was the only guy in my group. He was a little quiet and awkward, and I could tell he was struggling to fit in with the group of sorority girls I had. He was sitting by himself, and when I talked to him, I learned that he was a really big Nintendo fan. And I reassured him that while the girls in our group today weren't really his vibe, there's plenty of people at our school who will be. During the school year, I worked in the student center, and one day I walked into the game room and saw Jake sitting alone playing the Switch. A few minutes passed and a group of guys asked if they can play Smash with him. And after a few awkward moments of breaking the ice, I saw Jake start to come out of his shell. The same niche references and jokes he tried making during orientation were actually landing with these guys. And they stayed there all night gaming together and forging a new friendship. Even though I didn't care much for partying and going to class, moments like these are what matters. College is about finding your people and finding yourself. And it was really cool to see it happening right in front of me. Until I had to kick them out because we were closed and I wanted to go home. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. Peace.